Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming out to the Goddess Queen Hostess show. We have a great show for you today. The rise and fall of Elizabeth Holmes, the former Theranos CEO, found guilty of wire fraud and conspiracy, who was sentenced to more than 11 years in prison. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe if you are a returning subscriber. Thank you for returning. If you're a new subscriber, thank you for coming on by. Here's a disclaimer before we get into the show. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. This video was made for entertainment purposes and is transformative in nature. And on that note, we will be right back. Hello, and thank you all for coming out to the Queen Tulsa show. It was all a dream. We finally made it. Listen, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. You have come to the place where you can relax, enjoy, and get the hot topics. We can also engage. You can come up or even you can call in. That number is 725 888 1644. Thank you so much for your loyalty. We made it. I'm so excited. You should be too. Don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend. Oh, and make sure you sign up for our perks to get all the exclusives first. Thank you. All right, guys. Thank you all for coming out to the Goddess Queen Tulsa show. I really appreciate you for all your support and always showing up for the Queen. Okay. So, first and foremost, I want to say that Elizabeth Holmes really did it this time. Like, she really did it this time. Okay. Like I said, the rise and fall of Elizabeth Holmes, she's the former Theranos CEO, and she was found guilty of wire fraud and conspiracy. She was also sentenced to more than 11 years in prison. Now, this is a thing that really stuck out to me is that this woman was sentenced in January, right? Oh, excuse me. This woman was sentenced resulting in a months long trial where Holmes was found guilty on 3 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of conspiracy. Holmes was sentenced to more than 11 years in prison and will begin serving her time on April 27th of 2023. In 2014, blood testing startup Theranos and its founder Elizabeth were on top of the world. Back then, Theranos was a revolutionary idea thought up by a woman hailed as a genius who styled herself as a female Steve Jobs. Holmes was the world's youngest female self-made billionaire, and Theranos was one of Silicon Valley's unicorn startups, valued at an estimated $9 billion. But then it all came crashing down. The shortcomings and inaccuracies of Theranos technology were exposed along with the role Holmes played in covering it all up. Holmes was ousted as CEO and charged with massive fraud and the company was forced to close its labs and testing center, shuttering operations altogether. In January, jurors of a federal court found Holmes guilty on 3 counts of wire fraud and 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. They found her not guilty on 4 other counts and failed to reach a unanimous verdict on the remaining 3 counts against her. Holmes' former romantic and business partner, Ramesh Sunny Balwi, he was found guilty on all 12 fraud related charges. Holmes previously asked the presiding judge in her case to overturn her conviction. In May, Holmes' attorneys argued evidence was insufficient to sustain convictions. In early September, a judge tentatively denied Holmes' request. She also filed 3 motions requesting a new trial, all of which the judge ultimately denied. On Friday, Holmes was sentenced to 11 years and 3 months in prison with 3 years of supervised release. She'll report to prison on April 27th of 2023. Here's how Holmes went from precious child to an embattled startup founder sentenced to prison. Elizabeth Holmes was born on February 3rd, 1984, in Washington, D.C. Her mom, Noelle, was a congressional committee staffer, and her dad, Christian Holmes, worked for Enron before moving to government agencies like USAID. Wow. Holmes' family moved when she was 7. Holmes tried to invent her own time machine, filling up an entire notebook with detailed engineering drawings. At the age of 9, Holmes told relatives she wanted to be a billionaire when she grew up. Her relatives describe her as saying it with the utmost seriousness and determination. Holmes had an intense competitive streak from a young age. She often played Monopoly with her younger brother and cousin. She would insist on playing until the end, collecting the houses and hotels until she won. If Holmes was losing, she would often storm off. More than once, she ran directly through a screen on the door. Wow, talk about a. It was during high school that Holmes developed her work ethic. Often staying up late to study, she quickly became a straight A student and even started her own business she called CC++ compilers, a type of software that translated computer code to Chinese schools. Holmes started taking Mandarin lessons and partway through high school talked her way into being accepted by Stanford's University summer program, which culminated in a trip to Beijing. Inspired by her great great grandfather, Christian Holmes, a surgeon Holmes, decided she wanted to go into medicine, but she discovered early on that she was terrified of needles. Later, she said this influenced her to start Theranos. Holmes went to Stanford to study chemical engineering. When she was a freshman, she became a President's Scholar, an honor which came with a 3,000 stipend to go towards a research project. Holmes spent the summer after her freshman year interning at the Genome Institute in Singapore. She got the job partly because she spoke Mandarin. So this woman, she did what she had to do to get in where she had to get in. But one thing that I didn't understand is how is this woman, thriving or doing what she's doing in the community and, she's pregnant and her sentence is being delayed. Now, I don't know if you guys know about Angela Stanton King. Well, she was tied up with the Real Housewives of Atlanta star, Phaedra Parks, and she had to have her baby inside of the jail. Well, without further ado, let's get into this exhausting and unbelievable, unjustful behavior with the justice system with Elizabeth. Let's get into it.
Okay, so that's a great question. One of the reasons why the judge delayed the sentencing to April 27th is so she could have the baby before she goes into custody. In the United States, women who give birth to babies out of custody and then go into prison don't take their babies with them. And in many states and in many institutions, if a woman's pregnant and they give birth while in custody, some states take the baby away right away. Some let them stay with the mother for a month or 2 or 3 months. In Europe, when a woman has a baby in custody, they can keep the child with them for months and even years. So the U.S. in some ways is sort of draconian as to how we treat women who give birth while they're criminal defendants. In terms of what's going to happen, though, the defense team has to file an appeal within 10 days of the sentencing date. So they'll file an appeal and they'll also file a motion for bail on appeal. If that motion for bail on appeal is granted by the judge, then begins serving her sentence in April until after the appeal is exhausted.
System and fair. Guys, let me know what you think about this topic. Do you think that this woman should be excused because she's pregnant? Do you think that her trial should be, excused and put off to a later date? Let me know what you think in the comments.